All right, Mr. Stair back here for day 3 of eLearning for March 18th. And this is the worksheet. What is used to keep dolls from escaping? This is the worksheet that we're going to address today. But as always, I wanted to take a quick moment and talk about what is the difference between a barbell and ocean, just giving you the answer to the riddle. If that's something that you did do all 12 questions, and the answer is just wait and see. What's the difference between a barbell and an ocean? Just wait and see. Alright? Alright, so right here, this worksheet right here, what is used to keep dolls from escaping, is all about using division instead of just multiplying these two fractions together. Right? Only 10 questions right here on this worksheet. So please be mindful that just the answers for the top 5 are right here on this first section, with answers for 6 through 10 being just below. What is the one difference that we have to do when we divide fractions? This is the main difference, and really the only difference from the previous day's worksheet, and it has to do with this division sign between each one of these fractions. When we look at a division sign between each fraction, we're thinking about multiplying by the reciprocal. Okay? So if I just remind us here, what really is a reciprocal? If I have just a fraction, 3 over 4, its reciprocal is just 4 over 3. So on each one of these problems, class, I'm going to take the one that's after the division sign and always make it the reciprocal. Alright, so let's take a look here at which ones that we have. Now, what I would always encourage you to do is to do the reciprocal first, right? We say, okay, this is a division problem. I have to make sure that I multiply by the reciprocal. Alright, and so let's take a look at a couple of these here. One of the ones in which I want to look at is a question like, let's do with number 3. Alright, so if we're doing number 3, again, I have this fraction right here. I know that I need to multiply it, so I'm going to change that division sign to a multiplication by the reciprocal. And then just 6a is right here on bottom. So these are no longer there. I'm just rewriting it, so now I think that, okay, the a squared minus 36 is definitely there on the top, and the 6a is definitely there on the bottom. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at factoring each one of these. Okay? It looks like on this bottom right we have a monomial, so that is not going to need to factor, or that will not factor, excuse me. Hopefully we're getting back into this groove of actually factoring, being able to realize what patterns I'm seeing, and that way hopefully canceling these out, or maybe the most intimidating thing is the factoring part is not taking so much time. Alright, so I factored each one of these 4 sections here. When I do this, I can say, oh, you know what? A plus 6 is not going to cancel, but there is an a minus 2 that does cancel. I do see an a minus 6 on the upper right bottom left. Okay, and so when I see that, I'm just saying, I wonder what's left. Looks like I have 2 a plus 6's on the top and just a 6a right there. So with that being said, I can see right here the quantity of a plus 6 squared all over 6a. That's one of the answers to the problem that I just did. Alright, I don't want to do this problem, but I want to just talk real quickly here about number 7. If we look at number 7, okay, be thinking here that this is just like a number. So remember, we can still take the reciprocal of it. Just think about where would that number be. Alright, just think about where would that number be. The last one that I want to do with you is number 9. Alright, so on number 9, excuse me, we're taking a look here at factoring excuse me, factor into top left, bottom left, top right, bottom right. But again, the first thing that we want to do, even with number 9, is just make sure that we switch this to an actual multiplication problem, right? So I know that these have been switched, just like that. Now I'm looking to factor, right? So in the upper left, it just factors to 12x minus 1 and 12x plus 1. I can see that the bottom left is just a binomial, and there's no GCF in this binomial, so that's not going to factor. Same idea with the upper right, just a binomial, no GCF. Right here, it looks like there is a GCF. I'm just going to take a 5x out. That's left with 12x minus 1. Remember, that 1 is there for a placeholder, so if I were to distribute the 5x back in, it would look exactly like this previous term. All right. What we've done next is we've always looked to cancel. So let's see, I have a 12x minus 1, a 12x plus 1. It looks like that's going to cancel there, right? Now the next thing that cancels is something that we have yet to see, right? And it's all about, I'm going to do this in a different color just to point it out, but it's all about these two expressions. They they cancel in a very specific way. Right? If there was a plus sign between these two terms, if it said x plus 1 and 1 plus x, they would cancel with no issue. Okay? But the way that this is written, if you have terms that are switched and a minus sign, they don't cancel to positive 1. They don't reduce, to positive 1, but they reduce to negative 1. Let me show you what I mean specifically with these two terms. So again, I had an x minus 1 on bottom. I have a 1 minus x on top. Let's look to switch these terms. If I just switch this, see how it's negative x plus 1? I'm just switching the order of it. Then if I just take out a negative sign, see how it's this exact same as that? But if I cancel it, if I reduce it, there is just a negative sign left. So, when you are reducing terms that look like this, they have a subtraction sign, they are the exact same, but they're in the opposite order, they just reduce to a negative 1. Alright? So the way that this is going to reduce, I want to think about this here. I have, and I'm going to write this down here in this bottom section, I have a 12x plus 1 on top. I have a 5x on bottom. But the other thing I have is this negative sign. When I do this here, I need to put my negative sign out in front. Okay? So what that means is, just kind of scooting it down, is this answer right here is the final answer for this problem. Okay? Make sure that when you're looking at it, you know that in the future that this is how it cancels. Okay? For this worksheet right here, I do want you to try the remaining 8 questions. Okay, that'll give us some more practice in doing not only division but also multiplication, since that was the same way. So take a look at all 10 questions. Again, show your work on a separate sheet of paper.